Hello, good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to Amston Mindset. We're here with Yvette from Yvette Media. Um, Today, we're going to be focusing on self-control and how our mindset, helps us with self-control. Our focus will be, just on that. Yvette has a few questions that she's going to present today. It's a beautiful morning. It's not cloudy here. We're streaming all the way from Massachusetts. And Yvette, welcome.
Thank you so much, Susie. Hi, everyone. I'm Yvette, streaming from Nairobi. And as usual, I'm your representative. I have questions from you guys, and I'm ready to ask them. So, Susie, anytime you are, I will start.
Okay, go ahead.
Anytime you're ready. Okay, cool. So, we've been talking about actually, the bigger topic was harnessing our inner strength. Then we talked about mindset, and now we're talking about self control. Still on the self control topic. So please tell us, what are there effective strategies or techniques or skills for developing self control and maintaining a positive mindset when someone is going through a mindset shift?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So self-control to begin with. I think in the past we have talked about self-control and what self-control is. Self-control is an interesting phenomenon because we all grew up being told to control ourselves, and it is a very hard concept to achieve if you don't know how to actually manage your mindset. And self control and mindset go hand in hand. Um, and if you don't have a positive mindset, then there's no way you're going to actually be able to establish self control. So let's look at mindset. So mindset refers to the personal attitude, belief, and assumptions that shapes our perception of ourselves in relation to the world or people around us. It actually influences how we approach challenges, hardship, setbacks, how we pursue our goals, how we become persistent in what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So so you can see already, with our mindset, we are already trending into the ability to actually be resilient, you know the ability to actually um, perceive things in a positive way so that we can be able to actually approach challenges in a positive way, handle setbacks, and pursue our goals. See. So, there is a mind shift that people can actually be able to adapt to every time when they have a setback or every time when they actually have a challenge, right? So, by doing that, you have to consistently practice what we call self control. But for you to be able to practice self control, you have to change your attitude, you have to change your belief, and you have to change your assumptions. Okay. Dialing back, a week or two ago, we talked about our beliefs, right?
Yes.
How do we form our beliefs? Through our thoughts. And when we think about those thoughts for a little bit, for a while, 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, we actually, form a pattern whereby we actually start reasoning in that particular way. And that actually makes us become biased and start filtering what we see in our environment and what we hear, right? And hence we change our belief. And when you wrap around that with an emotion, there you go. You know,
Yeah.
that's what
Yes.
you believe in. Yes.
Mm.
So, and on top of that, actually, that makes you have that as assumption of things, where you don't have to be told that someone, this is a red book, or you don't have to be told, this person is this. By you having that attitude, belief system, that background, your filtering, your biases will make you make an assumption that will shape your perception of yourself and how you think about other people and things around the world. So now you see. So it
Mm-hmm.
influences how, as individuals, we approach, different challenges. So now you see, as we spoke before, if you have a positive mindset, right, then you're going to actually be able to look at the challenges as opportunities, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that means, when you see the challenge, you're going to see an opportunity, and that means you're going to be able to actually, pursue, things that are going to help you. Remember the mental filtering and um, you know, the assumptions.
Yes.
So once we actually are able to actually do that, then we end up pursuing our goals without feeling, a lot of hardships or setbacks, because our mindset to begin with was positive. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now, in that same category, so you're actually you're you're strengthening your self control at the same time. So remember, you know, you have changed your assumptions, you've changed your mindset, you've changed all that. That means, before you actually remember, before the belief, what comes before the belief? The thoughts,
That works.
all
Mm-hmm.
right, and the emotions. And how do we develop self control? By regulating our thoughts, our emotions, and our behaviors, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we can be able to make a conscious effort to actually, regulate our thoughts by thinking positively instead of negatively, wrapping around our thoughts with positive emotions, then having positive belief systems. That means you're following positive, you have positive biases, you have, you're filtering things that are positive, you see. So that means, it involves you consciously making that effort to actually get that gratification that favors you for long-term benefits. And that is what we call resilience, you know that actually helps you fuel and keep up with the goals that you have and dream and aspirations, call it. Of course, self control is a very valuable skill that actually can contribute to personal growth and productivity and overall well being, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can be developed, as you are asking, by strengthening, by consistent practices and mindfulness, and you can actually adopt effective strategies and techniques of doing this. And we're going to talk about the techniques, of course. So now, very very quickly, I wanted to talk about, two types of mindsets, right? These two types of mindsets. So you can
Okay.
either have a fixed mindset, or you can have a growth mindset. A fixed mindset or a growth mindset. Does that make sense? So
Mm-hmm.
so now, those two types of mindset, can actually shape whether or not you succeed in life or you don't succeed in life, right? So you can actually be able to figure out whether you have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. So a fixed mindset, to be precise and not to really go into details, is characterized by the belief that the ability and qualities are fixed to traits. So for example, you say, as a male, I can take care of the kids. As a female, I cannot look for work. You see, that's a fixed mindset set, you see. Or you can actually, think of, for example, this job is too hard for me. It needs a lot of experience. And I get it, it might be, but there are books and online tools that you could use to actually learn and get yourself better at doing what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
that, the fixed traits that cannot be changed significantly, are the ones that actually, those are the ingrained, belief system that you need a lot of work to actually uproot those, deep-rooted belief system that, will take a while for you to change, because now that's the only way you can actually be able to actually change how you think. Those are the belief system, the things that actually are so deep rooted that they actually make you pick and choose a certain partner, that treats you a certain way, because sometimes we are drawn to of the familiarity, right? Things that are familiar to us, things that feel more familiar, even if they're good or bad. Sometimes you just get attracted to that, because we have that mindset and fixed traits. So the individuals with fixed mindset may avoid challenges and fear and failure, and they feel more discouraged by setbacks, right? And these people might, avoid, challenges. For example, you don't want to leave a relationship because you don't know what else is out there, and yet this relationship is really, causing you a lot of pain and suffering, but you're afraid of what's going to happen out there, because you don't know whether you'll find someone else. So that one will hold you back. See, so for example, you don't want to leave a job, and yet that job is really treating you poorly, and yet you have very good skill sets, and you're a capable person who can be able to actually look for a better job and a better paying job in general. You see. So now that's a fixed mindset because of your bringing, how you grew up, then you're stuck with that, right? But then you can be able to unstuck it by going for therapy and coaching and all that. And we can talk more about that.
Okay.
But on the other hand, growth mindset is characterized by the belief that abilities and qualities can be actually developed. It's basically similar to, when you first, when you started swimming, or when you started riding, a bike or a bicycle. You did not start knowing. You had to learn the skill, and by you being persistent, consistent, and repeating the activity over and over again, then you actually was able to actually acquire the concept, you see. But, or you have to have a belief for you to be able to take action, for you to see the product. You cannot start riding a bicycle without actually practicing. Some people do it. Well, I think you do need some
Yep.
practice,
You'll
right?
fall for a while.
You fall for a while, you get up, you continue fall, get up, continue fall, until at some point you actually gain enough confidence to be able to balance yourself.
Yeah.
Now, think of your life as riding a bicycle. I mean, or if you're a swimmer, think of your life as, swimming. What else? Oh, driving, because most of us drive. Okay, think of your life as driving. You did not just wake up and started driving. I mean, unless you had the little car when you're little, then you know how to do the whole driving thing. But again, still, you still have to go through that consistent practice for you to actually understand the concept and for you to actually, be able to do it. So now, when you have the growth mindset, you actually have to develop the resilience. Remember what we talked about earlier? Right? We talked about, you have to actually have that, mindset that you're able to look into things positively. That way you can fool yourself, create that belief system that you can do it, and then take actions, continue taking actions to a point that actually you master the concept, you see. So now, so your willingness to take a risk in riding that bicycle and getting all the bruises, right? And positive attitude towards learning, and goal development, personal developments, you actually will be able to actually, um, you know, um, have a lot of growth in your life. You know,
Mm.
okay, so what we can do for us to get there, we can actually be able to cultivate self awareness, refrain from negative thoughts, set realistic goals, seeking feedback from people. I love feedback. Listen, feedback is the way that I can know, or you can know, whether you're trending in the right direction. Whether or not it's a constructive feedback, which in quote, it's sometimes known as negative feedback, or it's a good feedback, or positive feedback. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Either positive or negative, it doesn't matter. Constructive, feedback are good as well. You embrace learning with a lot of love. If you do
Mm.
that, you'll be unstoppable. So, well, we can actually increase our mindset by, increasing our motivation, which as I said, you have to just, change your belief system. Um, looking at the small achievements, what you've done the best in the last 6 months,
Mm.
overall, taking care of your well-being. See,
Mm-hmm.
those are very the core founders of that are effective strategies of developing self-control
Control.
and a positive mindset.
Uh-huh. So, what you're saying, Susie, is that there's a lot of what I'm hearing is there's a lot of emphasis on the beliefs, on your belief system, yeah,
That's huge.
and the
Yeah.
emotions that are attached to those beliefs. Yeah.
Yes. There is a
Yeah.
lot of that's the co-founder. Your thoughts, your belief
Mm-hmm.
system, and your
Mm-hmm.
emotions that are surrounding that actually
Mm-hmm.
causes you to have a certain mindset. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you end up having mental filtering, which I explained before. You end up seeing things a particular way, thinking a particular way, and then you end up having that bias that actually causes you to have that mindset that is not
Mm-hmm.
inclusive, that is not well rounded, that is not
Yeah.
seeing beyond. So you end up just seeing here, not all the way.
Mm-hmm. So that's why self-awareness is also very key
Yeah,
in this.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah. And one of good writer, Carol Dweck, illustrated in her book, The Power of Habit. Our habit, is what can make us or break us. Mhm.
Yes, correct. Okay, so next question. So as we are trying to, we are developing the self-control,
Mhm.
uh, just trying to shift our mindset so that
Mhm.
we win at life. Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
there are some challenges, some obstacles that we
Mhm.
encounter along the way. Of we live in an environment, so it's not all perfect. So, how can we as individuals overcome these obstacles? Maybe you can start by identifying the likely obstacles and challenges that you are likely to encounter in this journey.
So yeah, so there are various in life. There are various obstacles that we can encounter. Like in life, when I talk about life, I mean
Yeah.
our day-to-day operations. With people, with our loved ones, right, and with even
Mm,
our work with clients, right. Um, so as I said, the only way actually you can actually be able to completely divert your mindset is actually thinking of a certain obstacle as a challenge. So once you actually shift your mindset to challenge, then you start looking for solutions to be able to actually solve the challenge. Remember, you know, our as human beings, when we are challenged by something, there's a there's something that happens to our ego where we want to actually prove that we can do it.
Mm.
That's a mindset that needs to be triggered when you actually have an obstacle. Obstacles, if they're turned into actually a challenge, then you trigger the ego and maybe even the superego. So, the ego makes you to, feel more, you know, inclined to look for the solution. You see. So once
Mm.
actually in that state of mind, then shifting to the positive and having the drive to actually drive, past that obstacle is flawless. Very easy. It's mind boggling when you think about it that way. It's just like nothing can, if you have an obstacle, anything, you can do anything. Remember, as human beings, we have a willpower to encounter problems. We also have the fight or flight
Mm.
capability. That's natural. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody has that. So, but then if you involve your ego, then things change. Right? You know, they change. And you're able to actually think of something as a challenge. Because when you think of it as a challenge to your self-image, self-identity, oh, you'll be unstoppable. It's a game changer when you reflect on an obstacle as a reflection of your self, impotence or your self-image or your self-identity. Then actually that will actually shift your mindset. I mean,
Mm.
that's the easiest way I can put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. you know
Mhm.
Yvette, when people say, well, you had your own story, when you first started, right? you know you went to media, it did not
Mm.
work.
Yes.
Now,
Mm.
and what, that actually was an obstacle at that particular point in time,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Over time, you actually ended up, uh, someone bruised your ego.
Yeah. And I had to prove that I see I can do it. And I did it.
I can do it in a different platform. I can do it in a
Yes.
different way. So
Mm.
that's how we change our mindset.
Ah, okay. Okay. Hmm. By facing the obstacles head on, yeah? And
Right.
circumnavigate. It's called
Mm-hmm.
circumnavigating, circumventing, or going
Circumventing.
right through them.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
if you shift that, that's a mental shift that is,
Okay.
if everybody learned how to shift it, you will not be demoralized, looked down upon, feel
Mm.
unappreciated, feel underused, and
Mm.
all those things that you feel when people actually take you for granted,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
especially at
Okay.
work with the clients and all that, then you actually going to be able to overcome all the obstacles, as you asked it there. I hope I
Mm.
answered the question.
Yes, you have. You have. And also, you've brought out something else, yeah?
Mhm.
Willpower. I think you need lots of willpower to overcome these obstacles, because if you don't have willpower, then you won't even have the morale, the motivation to to face the obstacles.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
so the willpower is very important. And we can discuss or talk about the willpower later, but I
Mm.
think everybody understands the idea that I'm trying to
Yes.
express here. It's very
Mm.
important that we shift that mindset in that particular way, because that's a natural way of doing it. Without, that's a God-given gift. So
Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay, make it personal, huh?
there you go. Make it
make
personal. If it
make
is
it
personal,
personal.
you're good.
Yeah. Okay,
That's
so
it. Yeah.
so here we are cultivating self-control, we are overcoming obstacles. But then are there any things we can practice daily just to bring us closer to that position where, you know, we are taking charge of our lives, our self control is in check, we have the willpower to overcome obstacles? Are there any daily practices or daily habits that we can cultivate in our lives, in our day to day?
Yeah, of course there is. And that's why we have a lot of rich people, right?
Yes.
Because they
And
have
we are the
mastered.
rich people.
They have mastered. And when I say rich, I don't just mean money. There's rich with knowledge,
Oh,
rich
okay.
with money, there's rich with relationships, right?
Mm,
There's different kind of wealth out there. So we
mm,
have to be able to define wealth in different way for us to
yeah,
actually, appreciate wealth and richness.
yeah.
But of course, money comes first, but there's all kind of wealth in this
Yes.
world.
Mm,
And so, yeah, that's a very good question. There are daily practices that you can do, or habits that you can actually, have that can help you cultivate self-control and reinforce your mindset shift.
mm,
Which one of them includes, daily practices like mindfulness. And this can be done in different way. Exercises, mindfulness
mm-hmm,
exercises are so many of them that you could use
mm-hmm,
to be able to actually shape yourself. It works, and it does. And if you practice and you put it into practice every morning, it's gonna be fruitful. But of course,
mm,
when you do the mindfulness, you have to have a plan. You can't have a mindful
mm,
activity and expect something to actually happen. No, you have to actually shape it, belief system, and then you have to appear, like go to work. You cannot not show up and hope that the mindfulness is going to work. No, it's still you
mm-mm,
still have to do the work that you need to do.
mm,
And then there's what we call journaling. We journal a lot.
mm,
You write down your thoughts, your dreams, aspiration, and you can be able to actually see them, come into fruition, when you do it. In the thoughts that you have, the thoughts that you talk to yourself, the thoughts that you think to yourself, the thoughts that you put in the writing, they're actually epitome to actually your future. You're actually writing, thinking, and actually visualizing your future without knowing. The other one is setting your intentions, for your day to day, maintaining a good, healthy um, lifestyle and regular exercise. And exercise can come in many forms and shapes. It
yeah,
could be walking, going to the gym,
mm,
doing your dances in the house. Um,
mm,
of course, you could do different things, yoga, because that's a form of exercise, eating balanced nutrition, and surrounding yourself with positive people. So, because you can't
mm,
do all that, and then at the end of the day, you're hanging around with everyone who is talking negatively at work. Uh, they will undo literally everything that you did all day
yeah,
by just those words. The words are very strong.
mm,
Um, so you have to not constantly be around those people that actually talk too negative about something that you're trying to work on. If it's work,
mm,
if it is a friend, if you have a friend and another one is talking negatively about that one, then you can be a friend to the other one if you're listening to all that.
mm,
It's hard. That
mm,
would be a very difficult friendship. Um,
yeah,
so it is very important that you capture, your holistic self and make sure that you're working on it. You're cleansing yourself, with food, with exercise, with your mindset. It's holistic care. It's not just one thing. You just have to do everything in relationships. See, so that
mm,
will give you a product. So remember, with every input that you put into yourself, there's an output, and it's an equal output. So you're shortchanging yourself and not doing all these things and expecting yourself to actually come out all that, with the
Yeah.
willpower, the strength,
Mm.
the resilience. It's not going to, you'll
Yeah.
be frustrated. So yeah, so those are the ways that you can actually help yourself, in general.
Mm. Okay. And I like that because the big goal is the mindset shift, yeah. But
Hmm.
then by doing these small things, very small, manageable bits every day, you inch closer and closer and closer
Hmm.
to achieving that mindset shift and even living the life that you want. This
Sure.
applies mostly at work. You might find yourself in a department where you previously thought that you're not good, you don't have the skill set for that department. But
Hmm.
then by just, equipping yourself with knowledge, trying kidogo kidogo to change your mindset, seeking coaching, small things that you do every day.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll develop the skills that are needed in that department and you'll actually excel, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But again, you do have to surround yourself with people who have positive mindset. And
Correct.
if your coworker is there, just try and minimize the interaction as much as you can.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now, still on that note, on the workplace situation.
Hmm.
So, and I know so many people are going through this.
Yeah.
What if the
Hmm.
person who's discouraging you is actually your boss? You cannot avoid your boss. You have to report to your boss. You have to, have these interactions with your boss. How do you protect yourself from slipping back to that place where, you're no longer believing in yourself?
Yeah. No, I hear you. And yes, that has happened. And I've helped a lot of clients with that problem,
Yes.
you know,
Mm,
and that's a real life problem. It happens to
mm,
people. This is a problem that happens to people. And when your boss has that toxic mindset and
mm,
deliberately trying to actually impose that on you, that way that can
mhm,
actually limit your growth. First of all, you need
mm,
to actually identify that as and be aware of this. Because if you're not aware of this, you're going to succumb to actually that toxic environment. And
mhm,
that will actually where your abilities, your belief about yourself, your mindset that can actually disable your capabilities to be able to achieve the goals that you need to achieve in life. That's, I want to say it very clearly. If you're in an environment that, actually create that toxic um, you know, um, mindset. And this is coming from someone who is supposed to be nurturing your growth. Remember, this person is supposed to be nurturing your growth, teaching you the
yes.
things that you're supposed to do, but instead, they're actually, minimizing you. They're actually downplaying your abilities. They're actually not allowing you, very important, allowing you to practice your abilities. Very important. You need to actually be aware of that, assess,
Mm,
assess that environment, see, because at the end of it all, that
mhm,
environment may take away your future.
mm,
It is going to cost you more than anything. If you cannot move from one department, ask for a transfer to another department where you can actually practice your skill sets, where you can actually be able to be supported, nurtured, someone who cares about your future, someone who doesn't care about just, you're competing with them to get their job. You're there to learn, you're there to actually do better. You don't have to actually, be promoted in the same company. You can actually look for another job to go somewhere else and look for, like, get a better position than that, but not take their position.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who has those kind of insecurities and they're not allowing
Mm-hmm.
you to actually naturally grow and gain enough knowledge and understanding about your skills, then it's time to reevaluate you and see reevaluate yourself and figure out whether or not that's the place that you need to be. And
Okay.
do not hold back. Staying there will cost you your future. So you'd rather not even have a job or don't interact with the boss. Of course, if you don't interact with them as much, it's going to be trouble. I get it. But then
Mm.
try to withdraw from interacting with this particular person who is causing injury to your career and start
Mm.
looking for another place. Even if you're going to start
Mm.
behind, the other place is going to support your capabilities, nurture you. Even if you're going to start at a lower pay, at a lower job, at anything, but they're going to do that, there's a positive environment, you might as well be in the other place.
Yeah. And people have done that. It's just that in some regions, that might not always be the case. And now this brings me to my next question. So, when someone is in a position where they're not able to get another job immediately, for example, they have
Mhm.
to work in that company, in that department with that boss who's constantly pulling them down. So now, this person, how do they stay motivated and disciplined in this journey where they're, trying to shift their mindset? Because I'm looking at it as a challenge, an obstacle or a
Mhm.
challenge. So how
Mhm.
does this individual stay motivated there? How
So
do they keep themselves from falling back?
So it depends on what kind of your challenge or obstacle that they're having. If they're getting more
Mm-hmm.
workload, we can use that as an opportunity to learn. You see.
Mm.
So if they're getting, for example, they've been mistreated or they're not really, then this is hypothetically speaking. Remember, we don't have a
Yeah.
real example here. If they're getting those, derogative comments from their boss,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
understand that that boss, for them to actually go through the thought process of thinking about the derogative comment, what they're speaking out of their mouth, it's what is in their mind. That means it's their identity. It's not you, it's them.
Mm. Mm.
They have a problem with themselves and they're trying to
Mm.
actually impose it on you.
Mhm.
You see,
Mm.
if you understand it that way, then it's not going to have as a heavy impact
Mm.
on you. You're not going to take it personal because you're going to actually take it as, this person has a mental health issue. They
Mm.
cannot,
Mm.
actually practice self-control. They're actually, are, having this negativity in them that they need, they feel a need to actually impose it on another human being. They're being abusive. That means, they have a mental health problem that they need help with. They are having anger issues. You know, they're speaking down upon a certain group of people. That means that person has a problem, not you. Remember, this
Yeah.
is actually similar to bullying. What I
It is
usually,
bullying.
yeah, what I usually
Mm.
say is that bullies actually get it worse later than actually people
Yeah.
who are bullied.
Mm.
Because one, they seek instant gratification from actually bullying others at that particular point in time, but it doesn't last. They still go back to actually being angry with themselves.
Yeah.
So, if you're in the situation, if you're actually, having trouble with that situation, just think of yourself, that person is sick. They're having,
Mm.
because for them to feel entitled to actually impose pain, emotional pain on another person, and make someone so uncomfortable in a place that they're supposed to be nurturing, what does that tell you?
They are not okay with themselves, you know.
They're not okay
They
with
have a
themselves.
need to belittle someone for them to feel elevated.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
that means that person has a mental health problem. And, I can't
Mm,
say the diagnosis. I'm not there to diagnose anyone, but that
yes.
actually, the person is negative from within, not
Mm,
you, it's them. And that's
mm-hmm,
why the output is so negative,
mm-hmm.
you see.
Mm,
Yeah. So, I mean, for those people who are in that situation, I mean, that's
yeah.
the easiest way to actually look at it. And when you look
Yeah.
at this person, you actually, sympathize with them because, I mean, they must be going through a lot of problems internally for them to
Yeah. True.
feel, a need to impose it on another human being.
Yeah.
Something really,
Correct.
it's a pity.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's also for those who are in that situation, the people who are feeling bullied by their bosses, instead of being coached or mentored, they can always talk to their HR or escalate it to, to someone else. Because, like you said, the problem in this case is the boss, not
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the boss. But again, the HR has to be supportive as well. So,
exactly.
yeah, if your HR, you can trust the HR, and because you don't want to lose your job, as Yvette said, then you can go to the HR. But then
Mm.
again, sometimes you have to evaluate the system and see whether where the hierarchy works and where it
Corporate
doesn't.
culture and how stuff is done at work.
The culture is very important. Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but that helps because I know quite a number of people who,
Hmm.
would rather be quiet and take all the blows and end up resenting their places of work. And especially if they don't have, an alternative, another place of work to go to,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
another job is not forthcoming
Yeah.
in the near future, such people, they end up depressed and, you
And
know,
that's understandable.
yeah,
But they don't have to take it.
yes,
Mentally, they can be able to actually figure out ways to shift their mindset. And
mm,
it's not easy, it is tough, but
yeah,
remember, this person you can't fix. If they have
mm,
that internal problem, they're trying to put it on you, just know it's their
mm-hmm,
problem. If you shift your
mm,
mindset that way, it's almost like, like a stranger screaming negative words to you. It doesn't stick,
true,
you know. But then now, if you care so
mm,
much about what this person thinks of you, then it's going to stick. I understand it's your boss, but if the boss is having mental health problems, you know, and they're not taking care of it and they're putting it on you, then
yeah,
then you're going to actually get sick from that. And it's their problem.
mm,
Why?
mm,
Eventually,
yeah,
if they do that to several people, and of course, you're not feeding into the behavior, he's going to stop because you're not reacting to his behaviors or her behaviors.
mm-hmm, mm,
you know and this can happen to both female and male bosses and female bosses. It
mm,
doesn't cut just with one gender. um it can happen to any of the genders
yeah,
or any of the genders.
okay. Now I'll take you back, Susie, to
Mm-hmm.
the concept of mindfulness. For
Yep.
the sake of our audience, the ones who don't understand what mindfulness is, please explain what mindfulness is. And then Also, how can we integrate, mindfulness in the whole process of developing self-control?
Okay. I mean, that's a very good question. I know we throw the word mindfulness around and we hope everybody
Yes, a
understands
lot.
it. Yeah, so, but yeah, I mean, it's a good question actually because it's important to know what it is. It is a process. Mindfulness is a process of actually creating or developing self-control and shifting your mindset, by fostering self-awareness or by being more self-aware and having the ability to observe your thoughts, your emotions without judgment, right? Like for example, we talked about you know, when you wake up in the morning, you need to observe and see where your thoughts are. Are they on a positive or negative platform? Where are your emotions? Allow yourself to sit with them for a minute, and figure out where you are. Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling, demotivated? What's going on? you know so you need to actually encourage yourself to be more aware and observe your thoughts constantly, and so that way you can be able to actually shift them. If you're trending towards the negative, you're like, geez, why am I thinking about it so negatively? What's happening? Let me take a minute to go for a clear my mind, and maybe I might be able to see it in a different way. So it's the process of developing the self-control. And we talked about the self-control before. Then, and also self-control and achieving the mindset by actually shifting your self-awareness and the ability to actually observe, be observant of your mind, of your thoughts, of your emotions without judging them. Don't judge yourself. You start judging yourself, then you're actually doing the opposite. Don't judge yourself. By practicing these self-control measures and achieving the mindset shift, which you do it by creating this self-awareness and observing your thoughts and emotion without judgment, then you can be able to actually gain clarity, the clarity in how you can regulate your reactions and make conscious choices that align yourself with what you actually want to do, what you desire to do. The similar thing I just spoke about, the boss employee problem. When your boss is really not supportive and giving you a hard time, and you're feeling like um, you're not being nurtured in the right way. By just shifting that mindset and actually not looking at the problem as your problem, is that the boss's problem, you immediately actually have shifted the mindset by actually being aware of the problem, one, and then thinking about the problem and emotion without judging it, and saying, oh, actually, you know I'm not a bad person. Actually, I've been doing my job. Who is actually talking about these words? Where are these words coming from my boss? So are they mine? Absolutely not. Put it back on the shelf. Just put it back on the shelf and where it belongs. Don't carry it around, and yet it doesn't belong to you. It has, John's name on it, and it has Amanda's name on it, and yet you're carrying it around as if it is yours. Put it back on the shelf. It's just being self-aware of that thought, and and emotion, and being able to put it back where it belongs. You see, then you're not going to be reacting to your boss's behavior as if you're actually feeling that way, or it's your problem. So now you make conscious effort to focus on your job, because when you start thinking about what your boss is saying, what's happening, you're not doing your job. Your energy is low, you're demotivated, just call it everything. And all of it, we have actually encountered these problems in one way or the other, in our careers, in growing up, and even in our education system. So now, if you can be able to actually put it back on the shelf, you can actually be able to align yourself and see clear and regulate your emotions. That way, you're not going to be super reactive to the things that don't belong.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can be able
Mm-hmm.
to make a choice of how you want to actually be or think on that particular day.
Mm-hmm.
That's mindfulness.
Mm-hmm. And I've also remembered when we were talking about anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about this where you said that learn to make your heart slow down by being
Mm-hmm.
aware of your internal environment and your external environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
You,
like
yeah.
everything is here, get out
Mm-hmm.
of here
Yeah.
and focus here. Yeah.
Remember, there's a saying that goes like this: follow your heart. I've never
Mm,
had one that says follow your mind or your
mm,
brain. No,
mm, mm,
your heart speaks to you, and half of the
mm-hmm.
time follow our brain.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
happens?
We
And I know.
overthink.
Yeah,
We overthink. And you
you
see,
over.
and what you said about whatever is said, take it, place it on a shelf. You're actually removing it from your mind because it doesn't belong in your mind. It belongs elsewhere. You
Yeah.
know.
Don't
So that
take
means
John.
you're actually taking back the control. Mm,
Absolutely. Don't take
mm,
John's or Amanda's problems and actually put them on yourself.
mm,
Put them
mm.
back on the shelf, and the owner will just come looking for it.
Yeah. Where are my thoughts?
And honestly, that's a technique that I use with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
Your husband comes home or your wife comes home mad at you. Look at her, hear the words. Instead of internalizing it and taking it and making it yours, look at
Mm,
it. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Because of this thought or action of another person? Then put it back on the shelf. Please don't take it. Just actually visualize yourself putting back on the shelf, and you're going to see the mind shift. You're going to have some clarity.
mm.
Very important. I call it
Yeah,
shelf.
it is.
Shelf. Shelf the thoughts. Stop carrying other people's names. How many
Mm,
people's names do you have in your mind? A lot. That's
yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
That's too many
Burdens.
people, you know, in your mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Put them on the shelf.
Mm,
The owners will claim
mm,
them. Don't claim it
mm.
for them.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. And I hope that everyone just learns to put those thoughts somewhere on the shelf. Shelf the thoughts. They're
If
not
they're
yours
not
to carry
yours,
them. Mm-hmm.
do not take them.
Okay, good. So now my last question is
Mhm.
on the resources. Are there any books, sites that you'd recommend for people who are on this journey of shifting their mindsets to harness their inner strength? Are there any books, of any sites, apps?
Um, yeah, I mean, first of all, we're going to be actually publishing a book, hopefully coming soon. We're still in the works, about the mindsets, about shifting your awareness. We're going to have a workbook as well, so that is coming up, and the goal for that is to actually be able to reach out to as many people as possible at a very low cost, really, because it's really hard to get to everybody, especially people who do not have the ability, to use their internet at the, luxury as we do. Like, being, it's a luxury for them. It's hard for them to actually get the data. So, they can download a book, they can read it, but at the same time, There are YouTubes out there that can help you. Depending on the things that you're actually looking for. There are audiobooks. I don't have any list right now with me, but at the same time, it's important, to actually seek, professional help, coaching, life coaching, and also, therapy in your areas. Um,
Mm.
yeah, so I do provide both therapy, life coaching. Some of them are, located in specific areas, especially when it comes to therapy. Life coaching, can be anywhere, in the world. But at the same time, it's important for you to take care of your mental state, and, shift your mindset. It's very important. So yeah, we'll be having two books coming up, a workbook and also a regular book, hopefully in the near future. That will
Mm.
be awesome. And we'll have a promotion day, and we'll gift as much as we can to those people who think it might be like first, particular number of people. So keep a watch for it, and we'll keep you updated.
Okay, thank you, Susie, for that.
Mhm.
And this has been, as usual, uplifting, empowering, insightful, and more so the workplace situation where I know that very many people are affected in that area. Sure, you have enlightened a lot of people, and yeah, so many more people will, know what to do when they are faced with such challenges, such obstacles.
Absolutely. And yeah, so it's always a gift for me to give other people. I know knowledge is power, and you cannot take it from anyone. So sharing it doesn't really, change anything with me. So again, this is a charitable platform. We've been doing this for almost a year now. More than 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
For any viewers out there, anyone who would like to comment, feedback is very important. So go ahead and do that. We are located on Armstrong Mindset Health on Facebook and Instagram, and we are also on YouTube as well. And I think this post is going to be going to YouTube. Thank you, Yvette. It has always been a pleasure working with you, and having you here. The questions are brilliant, and no question is a bad question. Please, you can send myself or Yvette the questions, and we can be able to address them here. I'm glad that this session will be helpful, and there are a lot of people who might need help with this particular subject. You can DM me if you need, any support. All right. Thank you so much. It was really nice meeting you and talking to you today. And have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.